Right, good evening everyone. It's so nice to actually meet people in person, and I've spoken to some of you on the phone for good or bad reasons sometimes, but actually it's really nice to put a face to some names and to meet some parents this evening. Just to say that for reasons that are very obvious, if you wouldn't mind keeping your masks on while you're in here, only if you're able to. We're not expecting any kind of fire alarm, but if the alarm does go off, then if you can just exit out the stairs down onto the Astro. I'm Miss Carnegie Gomez, I'm head of sixth form here, and I'd also like to introduce part of our pastoral team. So we have Mrs. Connick here, who is the assistant head who oversees the sixth form, and Mr. Pitts, who is deputy head of sixth form and oversees UCAS. You also will have met Miss Miles this evening, who was outside. She was actually playing the role of Miss Razi this evening, handing out certificates, but she is our sixth form administrator who will be your first port of call. So she answers the phone if someone's absent, but also will email you any important information. Now, this evening, I'll talk briefly about the keys to success at Key Stage 5. Then we'll hear from our deputy head students this evening with some advice for our current Year 12s. Mrs. Connick will talk about the importance of well-being, and Mr. Pitts will look at our post-18 options, and then it will return to me for key dates. Okay, so the aim of this evening is for you to get to know us, as well as helping us to support the students in this room with their A-level studies and to ensure their well-being throughout sixth form. I just wanted to point out the most important key date that's coming up, which is consultation evening on Tuesday the 18th of January. Now that will be via Teams, so your child will log in via their Teams account if you haven't done that last year. If you're a new student, then it's just via their Teams account, and then it will be an online session. So students just need to make appointments with their teachers. Now, the purpose of our school, and we do feel this very strongly, is to develop the whole person and to create lifelong learners. We want our students to leave here at the end of Year 13 having a clear focus for their future and the realisation that that future is within their reach. All doors should be open to them. It's also important that our students embody the morals and values of our society and are able to do the right thing, no matter how much pressure or temptation there might be to go against it. I hope that our sixth formers are the role models for the rest of the school and that the lower school look up to them. Now, actually, this was really evident at open evening last Thursday, where so many Year 12 students gave up their evenings to support the sixth form. From showing around potential new students and parents to helping out in subject areas, our students were enthusiastic and were taking the initiative to go the extra mile. One parent sought out Mrs. Connick to praise Oscar for helping her when she was lost within the school. Many students stood on the balconies to hear Ellie, Daniel and Yasmin speak about their experiences of sixth form so far. And Arthur stepped in at the last minute to run the EPQ room for me. They have only been in sixth form, all of you have only been in sixth form for 3 months, and actually we were so very proud of them on that evening for helping so much and selling our school. Now, we want all of you to thrive in the sixth form, but this does take some significant work from the students themselves. We will offer smaller class sizes. We aim to build adult relationships with our students as subject staff and as the pastoral team. The students receive 1 hour per subject supervised study where they are expected to do independent learning. The study area is open after school on Mondays and Tuesdays until 6:30 that Miss Hurst has kindly given up her time to supervise. We offer increased credits for printing, which actually, when you're studying photography, is incredibly important. You have met most of the form tutors this evening, and they will mentor some of the students through any difficult situations, but also may be the ones to write their UCAS references along with Mr. Pitts and the heads of faculty. Our door in the sixth form office is always open, and I sat there and had my lunch today, and it literally was just like a revolving door. But actually we don't mind, because the students are seeking our help and asking for advice in order to further themselves within the sixth form. Now, we do expect increased motivation and independence in the sixth form. This is not like Year 11. We are expecting you as students to go the extra mile and to develop your own skills. Now, the expectation is that students complete an additional 4 hours of study per subject per week. That's to ensure the grades that you deserve. So for most of you, that's an additional 12 hours of study per week. Yes, you can do your homework, but actually independent research and wider learning is really important. And try to actually foster a level of interest in your subjects that is beyond the specification that you are taught. It's also helpful for you to do prior learning preparation for lessons. So if a teacher tells you that you're studying a subject next lesson, to go away and look at YouTube clips or do a little bit of work to get that knowledge up to scratch. Now, at East Barnet, we are very focused on growth mindset. In fact, Carol Dweck says, in a growth mindset, people believe that their most basic abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. Brains and talent are just the starting point. This view creates a love of learning and a resilience that is essential for great accomplishment. That is actually what we want to embrace for our students at East Barnet Sixth Form. We want them to embrace growth mindsets, the belief that they can learn more or become smarter if they work hard or persevere. They may learn more, learn it more quickly, and view challenges and failures as opportunities to improve their learning skills. Now, attendance actually is really, really important throughout the whole of your school career. And actually, unless there are significant issues, you should be aiming for 100% attendance. Now, I know it's not very clear to see on that slide there, but there is a board outside, and it just explains how many lessons you miss by just missing 1 or 2 days. You never know when that really important bit of information that's going to come up on your exam is going to be taught. So it's really important that you make every effort to come to school, that you be here on time and in your lessons. We do monitor attendance, and we do send out letters where there is a concern, and we'll ask you in for meetings if that is needed. I would also like to draw your attention to actually when people ask for references, so universities or other establishments, they can also ask for attendance statistics. And universities expect us to write a comment about attendance, just a single sentence about attendance on their UCAS reference. And that can be anything from outstanding to good, but they're very aware that if there is no comment, then that might be in the negative. So just make sure that you are here and that you are valuing attendance. I just want to show you this. So a lot of our data comes from the last examined cohort, which actually was 2019, which is a little bit scary. But on this slide, you can see that the students in the GCSE year, where their attendance was below 94%, 51.6% of students achieved 5 GCSE grades 4 or above. But when the attendance goes up to 94%, you've suddenly got a massive increase. 79.3% of students achieve 5 GCSEs at grade 4 or above. Attendance is key. Now, our Key Stage 5 assessment, it's a 2-year course. All Level 3 courses are a 2-year course, with the exception of the bridging course. Now, that does mean that we don't sit formal exams in June of this year, but we do have internal exams. So the Year 12 mocks are in June. You will have 2 weeks of study leave where you sit those exams, and it's really important that you work hard for them. UCAS grades are published in September, which means that they're the grades that are going to go on to universities for your predicted grades. Year 13 mocks take place in January of that year, and exam support is still in place for all of those mock exams. We are extremely proud of our results and most importantly our progress. So again, this is from our last examined year of 2019, and you'll note that actually we're in the top 5% of the country for sixth forms. So actually you guys are in really good hands. And if you compare us within the borough of Barnet, we have the highest progress rate out of any state school in Barnet. So we do work you hard, but actually we are successful in what we do. So our aim is to enhance the whole student and prepare them for life after school, which means that we run a compulsory course called Enrichment. This year there are 5 modules: mindfulness and well-being, which is encouraging our students to take care of their mental health; cooking, so they don't just have to eat pot noodle at university; diversity, so students can understand the challenges faced by a range of groups; first aid, which I think speaks for itself really; and finally interview skills, which is a slightly larger module where students have the opportunity to compete for a staged job. And actually it's quite surprising how competitive they get on that final day of interviews where they're suited and booted. As we value community and kindness within the school and out of school as well, we ask students to complete 30 hours of leadership during the year. Now, this normally manifests itself as 1 hour per week, but actually the students sitting here have kind of already gone far and beyond that, and I think some of them are pretty close to their 30 hours already, even 3 months in. We have a range of opportunities that students participate in, and that culminates with a leadership day at the end of the summer term. Now, during this day, we also elect the new head students. So these are our head students currently sitting here, but we will elect new head students in July and deputy head students. Now, please note that in order to stand for these posts, you must have completed at least 90% of your leadership hours and be nominated by one of your peers and a member of staff. So actually it's held in quite high esteem. So now really the best people to talk to you are the ones that have had the most recent experience. So this evening our deputy head students, Andriana and Liam, are going to speak.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen and students. I'm Liam, Deputy Head Boy, and I'm going to be sharing with you my experiences going through the UCAS application process and discussing what kinds of things you can be doing now in Year 12 to give you the best chances of getting to where you want to be after sixth form. So, me personally, I'm applying to do computer science at university, and I have an interview at the University of Cambridge next week. Being in Year 12, you may not be sure what you want to do after A-levels. Do you apply to university? Do you do an apprenticeship? And in what subjects? What course? There are loads of different paths you can take, but you want to ensure that you're taking the right one for you. Luckily, there are loads of resources out there to help you make this decision. For example, UCAS.com has lots of advice on picking the university course that best matches your interests. Apprenticeships.gov.uk can guide you through choosing the right apprenticeship training. But there are loads of other websites to help you find the right option. Also, ask your teachers for advice. They're there to help you. Also, in the walls in the sixth form study area are resources to help you out. Online personality tests can assist you in discovering simply what route would suit you once you've finished school, such as whether university or taking on an apprenticeship is for you. I was always fairly sure that I wanted to go to university. The social life, the networking, focusing on getting a degree, it felt right for me. But everyone's unique, so different pathways appeal to different people. It's definitely worth starting to narrow down how you'd like to occupy your time in the future, as it makes the process a great deal easier and less stressful at the start of year 13 when you have to make that decision. So I would highly recommend starting to consider these different options as soon as possible. Now, when it comes round in year 13 to start applying for university or an apprenticeship, of course, you are going to have to attract universities or employers, and they're going to look for a lot more than just your grades. They want to see that you are captivated by your chosen course or subject, but they also want to get an idea of how you are as a person. You will have to describe the qualities you have in the form of a personal statement, portfolio, or CV. When it comes to writing this, you really want to ensure you have plenty to talk about: why you love the subjects or your course, your interests both in and around the course, what activities you've done and experiences you have to demonstrate this passion, knowledge and skills gained from these experiences, and any hobbies you may have. So if you haven't already, start exploring the subjects or course you're thinking of doing through supercurricular activities, reading, taking online courses such as those on futurelearn.com, work experience if you can, watching documentaries, and any extracurricular activities you can complete, such as volunteer work or being a member of a club, help to show that you are a well-rounded individual. It's these kind of aspects that make you stand out as an applicant and increase your chances of getting accepted into your chosen course. Writing my personal statement took a lot longer than expected, so leave plenty of time to write this when the time comes to show you in the best possible light. I'd also strongly advise checking any entry requirements for your course, as my course required an admissions test to be completed, which sprung up on me, and I didn't have much time to prepare for it, so make sure you are fully aware of any tests or work you might have to submit as part of your application. I wish you all the very best of luck and hope you will get to where you would like to be after year 13. I will stay around after this evening to answer any questions anyone may have. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Andriana, the Deputy Head Girl, and I wanted to discuss with you tonight some things that I either did or didn't do in Year 12 and what I would do differently now if I had the chance. Throughout Year 11, you were probably told that the jump between Years 11 and 12 would be extremely challenging, but no one ever addresses how demanding the jump between Year 12 and Year 13 is. Your workload increases dramatically, as a lot of you will probably be beginning the coursework for your subjects, if it's required, as well as writing your personal statements, filling out UCAS forms, or looking for alternate routes to follow after you finish your time at sixth form. I know for me, juggling all this work has been extremely difficult, and I know that it would have been considerably easier if I'd kept on top of the work and utilised my time over the summer properly. My advice to you is to take advantage of any time you can to make sure that you don't fall behind. I'm sure you've heard that hundreds of times, as I had, but taking some extra time to undertake some wider reading for a subject or possibly research into alternate career paths could definitely take a significant amount of pressure off come next year. Additionally, try not to lose yourself in mountains of notes. Starting new subjects is always overwhelming, and it always seems that everything taught to you needs to be documented immediately. Of course, what's being said is important, but more often than not, you won't need to know all of that information for your exams. If you can, invest in the revision guide for your topics, as they often have a more precise and condensed version of the content. However, if you're unable to find a revision guide, then take advantage of online resources to the best of your ability. I was never fully aware of the sheer number of articles and papers made available to us that can help with analysis, context, mathematical problems, and so much more, as long as you make the conscious effort to look. Nevertheless, even though you will have work to do, or leadership activities to complete, or universities to research into, you have to make sure that you are still enjoying your time at school. It may be disheartening if you don't get the grade you want in a test, but all that does is show you where you've gone wrong, and what you can do to improve next time with a bit of determination. Enjoy going out with your friends, though the pressure of deadlines may be looming. Don't forget to take time for your social life as a way to almost release some of the pressure and stress that may be emerging. Overall, just attempt to stay as motivated as possible throughout these 2 years and try not to burn out too quickly. If you have any further questions, I'd be pleased to answer them later on. Thank you.
Sorry, next one.
Okay. Evening all. Thank you, Liam. Thank you, Adriana. I'm here to talk to you about life after East Barnet and the options available to you. The main route that most of our students go through is to university. About 80-90% of our students will go down that avenue. But for some students, they prefer to go down the apprenticeships or even degree apprenticeships or paid employment. And our job here at East Barnet, and particularly my role, is to help support the students in that journey. Before we get to that, I just wanted to highlight some of these things on the board behind me. Liam mentioned supercurricular activities and their importance. The importance of doing them and why we need to do them is because this not only increases your knowledge and your breadth of understanding in your chosen area, but will also show to your employees, your universities, or whatever route you decide to take, your genuine interest in these fields. So it's worth making a note of them, worth recognising them. Miss Carnegie will put these up onto Teams on a regular basis whenever these opportunities become available. So please, I do encourage you as much as possible to make the most of them. So, university. At the start of March, I will talk to you again about higher education and the process of applying through UCAS. Tonight, all I want to do is basically give you a quick overview of that and some key dates to look out for. So like I said, start of March, we have our higher education evening, and that is a launch, if you like, for our students into UCAS. UCAS is basically everything university. And so when we talk about that, we're talking about the application process, we're talking about tracking your options, and then the really exciting time when we start to confirm our choices. Towards the end of March, we will ideally, hopefully, take all the Year 12 students to a higher education evening, so higher education fair, and this would be an opportunity for students to go around to lots of different universities who have lots of different stalls and stands and find out lots of information about the courses and the universities that they might be interested in attending. We do encourage students to have a bit of a research beforehand so they have an idea of where to go, because there are literally hundreds of different universities there. There are also apprenticeship talks and degree apprenticeship talks that take place at the fair. So again, it's worth doing your research beforehand to find out where your interests may lie, and so you can save time and really target the ones that you're interested on the day. So, what's going to make you stand out as an individual? Liam started to talk about it already. Every application now is competitive. It doesn't matter whether you're going to apply for Oxford or Cambridge, medicine, veterinary science, dentistry, it's going to be very competitive. People are going to get the grades. So if you're predicted 3A stars, that's not going to make you stand out against the other candidates who are applying for the same course. The things that are going to make you stand out is what you do behind the scenes, what you do in addition to your academic studies. So things like the supercurricular courses, things like work experience if you can get it, things like volunteering, your leadership, showing yourself as a well-rounded individual. These are the things that are not only employers or universities are looking for, but in the wider society, the things that are going to make you stand out and get ahead of other people who are trying to fight for the same position that you are going for as well. So just to sort of summarise where we're at, 1st of March, higher education evening. I'll be talking to you for a lot longer, I'm afraid, about 20 minutes, 25 minutes about the process, and we'll be talking about apprenticeships as well. And we'll have speakers in from different universities to talk to you about university life in general. But 1st of March, like I said, is going to be the starting point for that. But there's nothing wrong in doing some background work before that and trying to find out what sort of subjects you might be interested in and the entry criteria is for that. Because the entry criteria will be based on your predicted grades that you get in September of year 13. So it's really important that you're making an impression on your teachers before then so that you can get the entry criteria that you need to attend the university that you desire to attend. Thank you.
I'm not going to talk for long. There I am. One of my favourite parts of the day at the moment is I'm the person who actually clicks the button that sends every application to UCAS, and I'm really proud to say that I've clicked the button on this lot, and actually reading their school reference and their personal statement as a finished item is just a real joy to just see how mature they are, and it's also very exciting when you then see the offers come rolling in. Last year, every single one of our students who applied to university, and I think we had about 120, didn't we, last year, applications, got offers and got where they wanted to be more or less on results day. Now that was in the midst of a really difficult year, and what I just want to say to you sitting in front of us is how proud we are of you. It's kind of, I was just talking to a couple of people looking at their certificates, and in some ways it's a bit of a mixed feeling. You know, you didn't have the opportunity to sit exams and feel that kind of reward when your results came through and you knew that somebody external, not somebody that really loves you like we do as teachers, but somebody external has graded you as a 9 or an 8 or a 7. We know how hard you worked last year, and we know how tough it's been for all of our students over the last 2 years. The diagram on the board just shows that actually you haven't had a proper school year that hasn't been interrupted since you were in year 9. So you've gone through the whole of Key Stage 4 with this pandemic going on and remote learning and all the difficulties around that. And we are just extremely proud of you. And we're really hopeful, fingers crossed, that we're not going to have to go back there again, and that you are going to have that opportunity in the summer of 23 to really sort of show yourselves for who you are and to move on to great things. Your well-being is genuinely our priority. Both my children came through the sixth form and through the school and have gone on to great and wonderful things I won't bore you with. But I think one of the things that we as a family felt really strongly about the sixth form at East Barnet School was it wasn't just about your academic achievement. They both achieved well, but it was also about them developing as individuals and looking after themselves and being resilient and able to go on to the things that they wanted to do. So it's not just a kind of a tick box exercise when we say well-being. It is something that's really important to us, and we hope it's important to you as parents and students. You need to look after yourselves. It's going to be hard. People have kind of hinted at that already. It's really important, people have said already, that you continue to be social, that you connect and make new friends, that you talk to your teachers when you're struggling, and you learn how to have those adult relationships in the classroom. It's really important that you get involved in leadership, not just so that you have something to write on your UCAS application, but so that you just get that joy out of giving to other people. And we've already mentioned it before, but the rest of the school look through that glass pane and really look to you as the people that they want to be in the future, and how great it will be when they're in the sixth form. Stay active, do some sport as well as just walking to school, and give yourself time out in the fresh air, doing things that are going to keep you physically healthy. And the other things, I know lots of your parents will have moaned at you about already, but never underestimate the importance of sleep. And my Year 12s who are here, I'm not going to name and shame, but this morning I just said to them, get your phones out. How many hours were you on your phone per day last week? And perhaps I ought not to tell your parents what the numbers were, but we were up there. And I know how addictive the phone is, but it's really important for your well-being to have time away from your devices as well. Just sort of my final slide is just to say that we acknowledge that it may be at some times in your sixth form life that you just hit tough times and you need a little bit of extra support. And I just want to kind of reassure you that we don't work in isolation. We do work with a number of different people in school and external to school who might be able to offer that extra support if you need it. The school nurse downstairs, we have the hub, which is a place where lots of our younger students go, but some of our sixth formers also use the hub as a place away from the pressure of the work that they might feel in the study area. Year 12 are all doing mindfulness as part of their enrichment and just learning those tools, whether that's something that works for you and is good for you or not. It's just important to consider and to look at. We work alongside external agencies like BICS, who are the Barnet Integrated Counselling Service, Early Help. We have internal counselling, and we make referrals to CAM if needed, and targeted support at sort of difficult times for individuals. I know you've met form tutors tonight, but your form tutors really do want to be that place of initial help, but if we need to make referrals, we're really, really happy to do that. We just know that the next 2 years are going to be exciting, but possibly tough at times, and we want you to make sure that you feel well supported. Thank you.
And just to round off the evening, I just want to reiterate some of those key dates. Now, in a bid to be paperless, Miss Miles will email all of you tomorrow morning with these key dates. Now, we are expecting reports imminently. In the next couple of weeks, you'll receive your first Year 12 report. If they raise any concerns, then obviously just drop us an email, and I'm quite happy to have a conversation with you. You will get another report later in the year, and there is consultation evening in January on the 18th, so make sure that that's in your diary. Mr. Pitts spoke about Higher Education Evening, which is on Tuesday the 1st of March. We have Interview Skills Day, which is where they come in suited and booted, so make sure that you've got your outfit ready for that, on Thursday the 17th of March. The Higher Education Fair is booked in on Tuesday, I think it's Monday the 23rd of March, but that's to be confirmed just by UCAS. Year 12 mocks take place towards the end of June, and UCAS and Leadership Week is the second week in July. Now, during that week, we will have guest speakers, numbers. We will also aim for a visit to Royal Holloway if they are having visitors this year. UCAS predicted grades happen next September, and with Year 13 consultation evening in the October. Now, university applications need to be in to us by October half term of Year 13, so please just have that in mind after the higher education evening. And finally, we have Year 13 mocks in January 2023. So we will send those key dates out to you tomorrow morning, just to keep, so you can keep them in your diary. But thank you very much for joining us this evening. The head boy and girl and deputy head boy and girl are here to answer any questions, as are we, and I'd just like to wish you all a safe journey home. Thank you.